JP and Jules.
Hello.
Sorry.
Thank you guys. Lovely. Nice. Yeah.
Cool. First of all, hello everyone.
Hello.
So this is a totally unprepared talk for two reasons. One, this is Jules' second time. No, a third time speaking in total. So you know when it's, I don't know who's a speaker here, but when it's your first few times, your whole script just goes out the window. But secondly, because it was only a week ago that I actually said that I could join this event. I originally couldn't come. So Jules is like, you're kidding me. You're leaving me to do it on my own? And then finally we could make it work. So it's totally unrehearsed. We're just going to have a chat with you guys. So rather than be a ghost, Jules is going to kick off with some points in about a minute. And we're just going to share with you our experience of what a relationship's like. And hopefully that'll bring a whole another perspective to this talk. Because rather than stand up here and say that we're a coach or a therapist or a healer or, I mean, by the way, all the speakers have been absolutely amazing. Even within the first hour, Jules and myself were like, this is an amazing event.
Yeah, really great event. Well done. Well done, Faisal. Well done.
So I think Jules will share how we met. We'll then share some points on what we've learned in being in a relationship, which is far from perfect. And then we'll leave some time for Q&A at the end.
Yeah.
So this is my wife, Jules.
This is my husband, JP. And actually, funny enough, talking about love this week, it's actually our 1-year wedding anniversary this week. Yes, we made it.
Friday, yeah.
On Friday, yeah. So,
where should we stand? I don't want to be in front of the projector. Should we stand
Press
here?
that top button on the remote there.
Yeah, can we turn it off?
Yeah, go for it.
next we've got our points, right?
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Can you turn it off?
No, I made those.
Turn it back on.
So where were we? If we go to the next one, actually.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Cool. Let's stand over here.
You guys. Yeah. So we've been.
Yeah, baby.
We've been together for about 3.5 years.
Yeah.
And it was interesting what Persia was saying about the twin flame, because this is my twin flame. We've even got matching tattoos to prove it. And I love Babe.
She made me dirty.
Any excuse to get another tattoo for this one. And it was interesting what Persia was saying, because I had a similar sort of experience before I met JP in terms of like lots of synchronicities and all that kind of thing. And if there's some of you out here who are looking to sort of call in their one, I'll just tell you a bit about sort of what I was doing before I met you, which I believe kind of helped in helping to attract you and eventually keep you. But I was, I'd sort of got into the personal development journey a few years ago, and I sort of hit the ground running and got really, really into the law of attraction and Abraham Hicks. I don't know if you're familiar with her, but she was like my kind of go-to guru, if you like, and I was just really getting into all her processes and all that kind of thing. And I just was kind of in this really high vibration energy, just doing as much as I could all the time to focus on positive and things to feel good. And I kind of just had this sense that something really big was about to happen. And I was seeing like signs everywhere. I was seeing butterflies, which are a sign of transformation. I was seeing 1111, which is a really powerful kind of number code that people say you see when you're going through a spiritual awakening, or you're about to go through a big change, or perhaps meet your twin flame. And so, yeah, a lot of these kind of things were happening, and I started to kind of get into that high vibration state, and I'd be writing down all the attributes of kind of who I wanted to call in and what they would be like. And I felt it coming. I knew it was going to happen. I was kind of feeling this excited energy all the time. I was doing visualizations. I was doing feel-uisations, almost kind of feeling like someone was there. I could even to the point where I could like smell someone. Like it was like quite intense before I met him. And literally within weeks of really kind of refining this process, I met JP. And how did I meet you again? Oh, yeah. Sorry. Oh, yeah, so yeah, that's it. So, actually, interestingly enough, the person that... he had one glass of wine. The person that actually brought us together is in this room. Would you like to stand up? Yeah. So we've both known Amanda for about 10 years, funnily enough, and we're very good friends, and we were having a conversation about personal development and spirituality, and just for some reason at this particular time, she felt the call to mention JP to me, and she goes, oh, you guys should meet, you'd be interested in the kind of stuff he's doing. So I had a look at him on Facebook, I was like, oh, I like the look of him.
It has him on Facebook.
Huh? Yeah, I looked him up on Facebook, liked the look of him, and I messaged him, and we arranged to meet for a coffee, but it was kind of going to be like a kind of client.
Trying to sign her up as a client.
Yeah. Yeah. Basically. Yeah. So he was going thinking I was potential. Oh, you did? Yeah, you did. So he was thinking I was like a potential client, whereas like I kind of was not that at all. I was like, he's fit.
No girlfriend.
Yeah. So I met him in the first like few minutes. He goes, I told him what I was doing, and I said I had a jewelry thing. And one of the first things he said goes, oh, my girlfriend will really like your jewelry. And I was just like, just like, okay, how long is this going to take? Was it going to be over? He was like asking me all these like coaching questions. I was like, oh, get it over with. No, but I liked him. I got to know him a little bit, and but I don't know. I had this sense that something more was going to come from it, and I had a nice feeling about him. But I wasn't, the fact he had a girlfriend, it didn't. I don't know. I just kind of knew something. And a few weeks went by, and I spoke to my friend Amanda, and she said, "You have a nice time?" I said, "Yeah, it was cool." And I was quite chilled about it. And then she just said to me, "Oh, by the way, they split up, him and his girlfriend." I go, "Oh, that's funny." So I just, I got back on Facebook, and it happened to be, because I hadn't been stalking you like the whole time. And it was my birthday coming up, and I happened to be having it in a private members club that I knew he was a member of, and my friend was coming. So it was kind of like two things I could say to like draw him in.
And actually, what Jules didn't know is I was practicing the same thing, and I have what's called an ideal partner list. So I write down. I had broken up with this girl, told her that it's over, and wrote down exactly the type of girl that I want. And then Jules messaged me on Facebook saying, "Do you want to come to my birthday?"
Yeah. So I messaged you, and I think you said yes in the message, but obviously you never know if someone's going to turn up. But I knew, got all dogged up, and literally the night I was there with all my friends, and I was sort of standing in a group with my friends, and he walked in, saw me through the door, and we locked eyes, and that was literally it.
Forgot about all her friends.
No, literally, like my friends actually just left the party because I was like so rude. I literally didn't talk to anyone else, and we were just kind of joined at the hip from that moment.
Like
That's really actually
better than that.
that's actually really awkward because my brother was there as well. Like anyway, but yeah, that was it. From that moment on, we were sort of joined at the hip really. And we were engaged less than a year later and married like a year after that. Yeah, and then when we met, after we met, obviously both being into personal development, everything just kind of went like triple speed in terms of our growth and my transformation as well, obviously. So yeah, that's that story.
Yeah, so that's how we met. Since then, obviously, it's been a hell of a roller coaster. And then we're going to cover some of the things that we kind of go through in our relationship. I mean, like I said before, me and Jules have done a TEDx talk actually on relationships. Now, the power of a relationship is when you come together, like it can be really, really powerful. And Jules's first ever talk was a TEDx talk. Like, who does that?
Terrifying.
But it was because we did a video together on one concept. There's no such thing as a perfect relationship, only a perfectly imperfect one. And that you have to recognize each other's flaws, respect each other's flaws, wants, needs, values, all that stuff. And they contacted us and said, would you like to do a TEDx talk? And we were like, yeah. And it was a wonderful experience, but I think we probably were fighting.
Forgot my lines a few times.
Yeah.
But we managed to get through it. But anyway, the main sort of theme of the talk was how to get the most out of your time in relationships. And we talked about how basically finding out what each other's values are is really, really important in sustaining and maintaining a really good relationship. So do you want to talk a bit about the values and how we can eelicit our values?
Yeah, so I think that goes into the first slide.
Yeah,
so
we're there.
Are we?
I did it already. Yeah.
Oh, there?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
It's because I made really...
You changed the slide.
They're way better because mine was so crap.
That looks fine. That looks beautiful. I'm waiting for a white screen to come up. Where's the frickin' slide, man? It's right over
Look at this. Look at this whole... It's like artwork.
Okay,
Yeah.
so values and standards. So Jules and I have very different standards.
And values.
And
Well, no, similar and different values, yeah.
So Jules likes to butt in. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. This is true.
Like, Jules has a standard for leaving the toilet roll on the holder the wrong way around. Okay? I'm just kidding. So we have different standards, but at the end of the day, above standards is values. We have very different rules for living. And if I expected Jules to live in my world and vice versa, it would never, ever, ever work. And we're always learning about each other. So in the beginning, you think, okay, for someone that's uneducated, right, I've been doing this a long time, so I know, be respectful of Jules, give her what she wants, get her to give me what I want, and we'll be happy. But together, we're constantly learning and discovering. It's kind of like you're in the beach and you're hunting for things in the sand, and every time you find a coin or a ring, whatever, you gather more value. And that's the same thing with values. You need to try and discover, or do your best to discover, what is most important to the person sitting in front of you or standing in front of you. Because for me, like, one of my highest values is freedom. Like, if anyone in my life ever tries to tell me what to do, you're out. Like, that's it.
Can I just...
2 seconds.
Oh, sorry.
Jules does this around all the time. But at the same time, Jules highly values connection. And like, if I don't give her that connection, our relationship will fail by the time we get home. Now you can go.
Thanks. No, but we didn't really explain the concept of values, but obviously your values come from, so if you say you had a void in your childhood, you'll do everything to avoid it when you're older. But like, so for example, the reason freedom is a big value for you, one of your highest values, is because you didn't have freedom when you were a child. And I didn't feel like I had connection as a child, which is why it's so important to me. What's your second highest value?
Well, I would say my top 5 highest values are, in no particular order, are freedom, family, financial independence, connection, and compassion. Those to me are the 5 most important things to me in my life. Now, the beauty of life is we're always changing because we're a part of nature. So 10 years ago, when I was mid-20s, right, I'm 36 this month, my 5 highest values were like significance, power, acceptance, because I was still doing a lot of work on myself. So then, if we had been dating then, she'd have to like shower me with significance. I don't really care about that right now. As long as I have a family feeling, and Jules lets me do what I want, when I want, how I want, obviously with boundaries, then I'm happy. I just want to feel like I'm part of a family, and I want to be left to do my mission, to do my career. And for those of you that follow me, you know it's pretty big. I'm busy all the time. So, but yeah, like Jules said, we don't have enough time to go into it, but your values come from what you were missing as a child. There's plenty of different ways to elicit your values. You can look at the work of Dr. John DeMartini. You can look at the 6 human needs. There's plenty of different ways, but an easy way that I always look at with my clients is, what were you missing as a child? Whatever was a void growing up, you will do everything to avoid in later life, because you don't want to experience that pain again. So I know, like Jules said, she lacked massive connection. So I know connection is everything to Jules. Whereas for me, I lacked freedom, or another word for that would be choice. I grew up very poor, I was bullied throughout school, and I didn't get choices, didn't go on holidays, didn't do anything. We ate at a restaurant once a year. So for me, freedom is everything. For that reason, I probably spend way too much money in my life, but it makes me happy.
Yeah. So, like, if I was to be someone who wasn't cool with traveling or him being away quite a lot, of course, sometimes I would rather he wasn't away, but if I wasn't cool with that, our relationship would never work. So we've had to find a way to make that work, because I would be stamping on his highest value, basically. And the same goes for me. Like, that one of my highest values now, my highest values used to be significance and connection, popularity, all that kind of thing. I needed significance and importance. And then when I became in this relationship, you met those values for me. You gave me connection, you gave me significance. So now my values have changed, and they're different things. Like, creativity is one of my highest values, and I like to do a lot of different things. And that you have to honor that. I like to do, tons of different things. Some people might be like, stick to one thing, you've got to stick to one thing, but he knows that doesn't serve my highest needs.
So actually a great example is Jules mentioned, is this been good so far?
Yeah.
So Jules mentioned, and I'm sure this will happen, I see a lot of relationships fail for this reason. One person is traveling more than the other person. So what's happened is you're saying, I'm traveling so much because I'm fulfilling our dreams, but you're doing it while you're meeting your own values, and you're not meeting the other person's values. So for me, I'm traveling a lot, and for those of you that once again are connected with us on Facebook, you'll know that we moved to Ireland for 2 years. And it was growth for us, because our values kept changing. We wanted to be connected, immersed in nature, surrounded by a beautiful environment, and it served us very well. But then my speaking career went boom, through the roof, and every single week I was like gone. I don't think I wasn't at home for longer than a week or 10 days. at a time. Now what happened was I'm fulfilling my highest values, and it's a great, beautiful, romantic picture for our future, but at the same time, Jules is being left at home alone. And like, even though it's beautiful, there's zero connection, because we lived in the country, there weren't even street lights there. So at 4 o'clock when the sun goes down, Jules is left alone. So I said to Jules, where do you want to live? Remember, I want freedom, Jules wants connection. And I said to Jules, we can live anywhere in the world, I don't care. And I said, take as long as you want to think about it. 2 days later, she said, I want to live in Surrey, close to my friends, close to my family, close to London, and you can be close to the airport. We said, done. And you know what happened? To come back to Persia's talk, we just got this amazing, amazing deal. Come to us from the middle of nowhere, and we're moving to this country manor on the 25th of July this year in Surrey. So once again, it's just about, it's respecting that we all live in different worlds. Let's use this, sorry Jules, I'll pass over to you back now. Use this as, this is what we see, this is our world. Right? I've spoken about this before. But we're always trying to understand each other's worlds here, but we have to understand that our world comes from not even here, our eyes, but it comes from the laptop. It comes from the software and the programming. So if you can understand where someone's come from, what their conditioning is or has been, what their values are, how they grew up, you can understand why they see what they see.
Just give another example of getting your values and your needs met. I remember once you said to me, I just want to go away for a few days and like be alone in nature and just like literally just be in silence and meditating. And when you first said this to me, I took it like so badly. I was like, oh my God, he doesn't want to be with me. Why doesn't he want me there? Like really upset. And then I took a breath and looked at his values, and I realized all those things were just him getting his needs met. Connection, you know, nature, connection. freedom. So that's one where you can kind of move through and get through that.
Next one.
Yeah, and just another one, quick one to speak to standards. You know, just obviously, you know, we all grow up with different paradigms, different, you know, different family relationships. And you know, for example, I grew up in a really chaotic household. You know, it's like probably the most disorganized household. I mean, like you'll get quite shocked at my parents' house, like just very messy, very scatty. And whereas you like had like severe like discipline
OCD.
as a child, and I would say that he's OCD. So that's been like a balance in our relationship, you know, because his standards of tidiness and cleanliness like are like up here, and not that mine are bad, but I just don't notice the same things. So we've kind of had to come to like a mutual understanding and respect with that, where if he says like that's not done right, I shouldn't take it personally. I just know that it's not what he's been used to. So that's like a really good thing to think about.
Mutual respect for each other's worlds. Like we just kind of meet in the more we're together, the more we meet in the middle.
Yeah.
Like I'm a little bit cooler about leaving shit around.
Yeah, you've definitely
like,
got cooler.
You've
definitely got
do
cooler.
stuff and be like, look, I'm cleaning up.
I said that to you yesterday. Like, do you notice?
Gold star.
And every time he gets back from traveling, I make such an effort. I'm like, have you seen this?
Yeah. Look at the house.
Yeah. So on to the next. Creating connection. Yeah, there's just, you know, lots of different things that you can do when you're already in a relationship to maintain that connection and to deepen it as often as possible. We just bring up some small things that we do. I would say things like we prioritize a lot of sort of, we both work together, so we're together a lot, but
not together.
But we're not together, yeah. So we will both be like immersed in
Lara
our...
was saying that you can either go like separate or together. So sometimes we're together, but we're separate. We're in completely different worlds. Anyone know any people like this? Like you're together, but you're just not... I think it was you again that mentioned that you live in completely different worlds. So we'll do something like, say, let's break away. Let's go to the shop and buy a treat. Let's take the dogs for a walk. And just finding little ways. And it doesn't need to be big. It could just be, oh, give me a cuddle quickly.
Yeah.
To keep
creating the space for connection to occur. Like you do have to work at it. Like at the beginning of a relationship, obviously it's much easier. Things are more spontaneous. Like you just want to be together the whole time. You probably would prioritize your relationship over work sometimes. But as things go along, you really have to make the time to do that and prioritize it. For example, like, you know, just like in the mornings, you know, make time to have a cuddle with your partner or whatever. There's another couple that I follow called Alexi Panos and Preston Smiles, and they talk about doing this. If you follow them, I love them. You know, they have one alarm that goes goes off in the morning, and then they have like 10 minutes and then another alarm that goes off, and that's that 10 minutes they allocate for their snuggle time, just to make sure that they have that connection and intimacy in the morning.
And this is something I really have to work on, because trust me, when I wake up in the morning, the last thing I want to do is lie in bed. I want to crack on. And I want to get going. I want to get to my book. I want to put an audio book on. But I know that that's very important to Jules. So we lie in bed and we cuddle, and the dogs, as soon as the dogs realize that we're awake, they jump on us and they come right here and they lick us on the face and on the neck. And it's just that little moment in the morning that still sets us off in the right way. But it doesn't have to be massive.
Yeah, little things like, just like occasionally we'll literally just spend time, it sounds really lame, staring at each other.
Careful, what are you going to say?
No, just like Just bang.
I'm joking.
Stop.
No, in case you didn't hear that, sometimes we literally just stare at each other. And that's...
like eye contact, Just.
I'm actually very blessed. I've never said this to you, but I'm very blessed that we can do that, because I don't think I've ever had a relationship that you can just stare. And you'd think it's a very difficult thing to do, but literally we can stare at each other for hours. And we practice it. It's not because we're experts at it. We practice it. We always do it.
Yeah.
And we stare and smile and stare. And then we do it so long, we start laughing. And then we just go back
so
to
just
what
like
we're doing.
small things like that, just being present with one another. I think, in this day and age, it's very hard to sometimes be present. So it's just finding those little moments where you can take time and just be present and practice quality time with each other.
Yeah, can I actually just say one thing? And it's got to do with connection, but kind of the opposite of that as well. And this is a personal opinion from me, and me and Jules were discussing, or Jules and I were discussing it earlier. I really believe it's important to not be overly connected to your partner or like obsessed. Like you need to have beautiful connection and a great connection, but you also need to be connected to yourself. You also need to be connected to your passions, to your work, to your friends. Otherwise, there's a massive imbalance. And I think, obviously Faisal was talking about feminine and masculine, and I like the masculine in a woman, right? Not too much, but I like the masculine in a woman that's like wants to go out with her friends and, wants to, like Jules says sometimes, don't bother me, I'm working. I like that because I know she's not like too on me. Because once again, I want to be free. I want to do my own thing, and I don't want to be suffocated. So I know that some people, I don't know if you're in a relationship, you want to get in a relationship, you're in a new relationship, but connection is not about how can I connect with this person as much as I possibly can so that they become in love with me. No, that can do exactly the opposite, because that stops that person being able to stay connected to themselves. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You're like in their face all the time, like just little things like Jules said.
Like if you make someone your all and your everything, as soon as they're not there or it goes away, you're feeling lackful again, and you're So let's see where we are now. We kind of touched on this playtime and intimacy, just making sure that you do that on a daily basis and create the space to it. Yeah, and be silly. Like this morning, we were like dancing around the room to that really annoying song that you like.
We put it on repeat 3 times.
No, you put it on repeat. You did not.
We're a team, Jules.
Yeah. No, we do. We are just silly, like
just dancing, yeah. And we used to do this thing. What in the morning? The crazy dances.
Yeah, don't tell them about that.
Yeah. I'm telling him. So like Tony Robbins does like lymphocyzing, right? So it's like after a while it gets a bit boring. So we started going. And we'll just face each other and do these crazy dances. It didn't last long. Maybe it was a bit too weird, but
keep things light as well. Obviously,
to have fun.
Yeah, keep things light.
Relationships and love aren't meant to be serious. Yes, love is not fluffy, but it also doesn't have to be deadly serious. Just have fun.
Yeah, which brings us on to our next point: disagreements and conflicts. Obviously, when you keep things light, it's much easier to move on from that energy if you have any fights and arguments and that sort of thing. And generally for us, it would be they come about from lack of communication, for miscommunication, for just lack of clarity. Normally, I think if you're open and clear with your partner most of the time, things don't get misconstrued. Would you agree?
No, I disagree. So look, I'll be honest with you, and Jules won't mind me saying, we disagree a lot.
Yeah.
But our disagreements are over like that. Because I was having a conversation with someone in this room earlier saying that you can't fight ego with ego. I think it was with Greg. Was it with you? No. Yeah, man. And you know, you have to choose. Someone else said this. I've been listening very intently tonight. You can either choose. I'm going to change it slightly. Do you want to be right or do you want to be happy? Right? Like, always choose to be happy over right, because proving yourself to be right is your ego. It's got nothing to do with you really believing that you're right. It's just you're trying to prove a point. You're trying to win. And I would rather win the long-term gratification over short-term satisfaction. Oh, I kicked your ass in this conversation. So we have lots of disagreements because we're also both very fiery. Maybe it's because we're twin flames. I don't know. But
we're also fire signs.
Fire signs. We're both quite masculine. Obviously, me more than you.
You're also quite feminine crybaby over him.
So yeah, it's very important. It's okay to have disagreements. Just understand that you can't fight ego with ego. And every single time, this is what we were saying before.
Yeah.
Every time we have a disagreement, I almost get excited in the process because I know that we'll come stronger. Because I'm committed. So you have two choices. Either you look at a disagreement as a challenge, like building a business, or you go into business and every time you have a challenge, you go, oh, it's not going to work. It's not. No, if you have a challenge, you go, how can we get through this so we can get better? The same goes for relationships, same goes for life. So every time we have a disagreement, I'm already thinking in the disagreement, what am I learning?
Yeah.
Even before we come out. And we become so good at just making up. What usually happens now is we just have to disagree, bark at each other, and then we'll turn to each other and we'll just wait to see who smiles first.
Yeah.
And then usually I'm waiting for Jules to smile first because I'm stubborn. And then as soon as she smiles, I give permission. Oh, I love you.
Yeah, I would also say, like, I used to be one of those people that like stews for hours, and I'm knowing that like for the next, now I'm like, I don't want the next few hours for me to be sitting in this energy of frustration and annoyance. I'm like, I'm just wasting my time, and it's like annoying for me. I can't be proactive in this energy. And sometimes it's like I'm waiting for him to be like whatever it is that I want him to give me. So if I'm wanting for him to break and say sorry or give me a cuddle, what I've realized is whatever I want from him, if I give that to him, I open up the space to receive it. So I'm normally the first one now to be like, oh, okay, can you just give me a kiss or whatever? And then straight away, it's like the energy is diffused. So just whatever you're seeking from someone else, either give that to yourself or give it back to them, and you'll open up that space to receive it. Yeah. Gratitude. Obviously, this is something that we should all be practicing just for ourselves on a daily basis. If you're in the attitude of gratitude, if you're filling up your own cup, you're going to be happier individually. You're going to attract more abundance in your life. You're going to feel more loving. Your cup's going to be overflowing. You're going to be able to give more to yourself and to your partner. But also, it's something that we consciously do every day. We say what we're grateful for to each other, and that makes us feel good.
Yeah, I would say if you feel empty in a relationship, it's because you feel like you're lacking. You feel like there's scarcity. But gratitude is a great way to fill up your cup. So when you feel like when you're grateful and appreciative for everything, you bring that. What's another word for gratitude?
Thankful.
Bigger than that. Appreciation, bigger than that. Love. So when I'm in gratitude, I'm in love. Always. Yeah. Well done, baby.
And and that goes with appreciation over expectation. That's another reason that we can get into conflict. Conflict is when I have something that I'm expecting to go a certain way and it doesn't go that way, and I get really pissy and annoyed, and then I take it back and go, hang on, there's something to be grateful for in this situation, and that diffuses the energy and turns it around very, very quickly.
Yeah, I'm a big fan. We're both big fans of the late Dr. Wayne Dyer, and he always used to say, trade your expectations for appreciations. Or Tony Robbins has a variation of that. If you are pissed off or annoyed or angry, it's because you believe that life doesn't match your blueprint. So if you change your blueprint from expectation to appreciation, then you live in a very different way. And I use this, I've been saying this for years, and it's a bit extreme, but you get the point. If you never expect things to go right, things can never go wrong. If you never expect things to go right, when they do, you're very grateful. But you never expect them to be right. And therefore, as long as things are going right, you're so grateful, you're so happy, you're so appreciative. But when they go wrong, you weren't in expectation in the first place, so you just accept it for what it is. Does it make sense?
Yeah, gratitude makes everything enough, and it causes you to focus less on the negative points about maybe your partner. When things negative about them come up, it's really easy to just really focus in on them and forget about all the good points. But actually, we were talking about earlier, thinking, you know, hang on, I'm looking at someone else's negativities and forgetting that I'm not perfect. You know, I've got things that I need to work on, and you know, why should they be perfect? Because I'm certainly not.
Yeah, like me being OCD, high standards, quite anal actually, most of the time, I could very easily pick on things that Jules doesn't do right, or doesn't present herself in the right way, or whatever. But who the fuck am I to say that? I'm no saint. I'm no perfect person. I look in the mirror, that's what I say. Before you start looking at other people and saying what's wrong with them, look in the mirror first. And when you tell me you're perfect, then you can start having a judgment of other people. But I am far from perfect. And the more I realize that, the more I raise Jules up, because I realize that she's so much better than me.
I'll take that.
She paid me for that.
How do we express love, and how do we express pain? This kind of goes a little bit into the whole love languages things, how we give and receive love. And I'll just give you an example of that. For example, like I receive love by, obviously quality time is one of the ways I like to receive love. Another way is I like a lot of affection, and especially I like it when we go out and you're really affectionate to me. But again, like you need to communicate this with your partner, because if they don't know, they might just not be doing something you want them to do, but they haven't got a clue. It's just because they receive love in a different way. So like I vocalized this to you. I said like I like it when we're out and like we hold hands and do things like that. So now he makes a conscious effort to do it. It's not that he didn't want to do it before. It's just he didn't know that was what I liked. So, yeah.
Whereas for me, I don't really, obviously I'm in a relationship, right? I'm married. I like affection, but I don't like it to that point that I need to be like, you know, like holding each other's hands and stuff. What I really love more than anything is praise. I love, like if I do something good, Jules sometimes says to me, good boy.
I also say that to our dog.
It's not in a sexual context. Some of you were like, hey. But yeah, she talks to me like the dogs, basically. No, but if I say I just went for a really good run. The other day I did a 50k ultra marathon, and the whole time Jules was texting me saying, I'm so proud of you. And that made me keep running, because that's the thing that I value the most is praise, because I never got it as a kid. So Jules knows, like she'll always say, almost every day, you say, I'm so proud of you. But to her, she was like, why you keep telling me that? You know?
Yeah, when you say,
She would say, if I had to say that every day to her, she'd be like, okay, I get it. You're proud of me. Like, so you have to find out, how does that person experience love?
And pain as well. So, like when I'm angry, I just get very obviously angry. I can't hide my emotions. I'm like really fiery and just not very nice, just a complete bitch, basically. Whereas like I'm not, and I have a lot of anger and frustration, whereas like you go silent.
I switch off completely.
Completely, you just go silent, whereas I would be very vocal. So that's just good to be aware of how your partner processes those emotions, so you know how to best serve them when they're in those.
I would say like last year, for me, going silent, that was like still, we've been together 3 and a bit years, so that was still a learning point. But now this year, Jules got very good at when she knows I'm silent, she knows, just leave him alone, he'll come out of it. Whereas when Jules is angry, I know, leave her the fuck alone. Don't go near her.
Well, I don't want you to leave me alone. Right, next. Communication is key. Yeah, this just kind of summarise everything we've been talking about, just being very clear with one another and just explaining things, really. Add anything to that?
Always talking. Talking rather than thinking. Communicating rather than assuming. What's that saying? Assuming makes an arse out of you and me. To assume makes an arse out of you and me. Always talk. Always be willing to vocalize. Like, I hate it in previous relationships when you hear jokes about this, comedians talk about it, when you say to your partner, you say, whatever, to my partner, you say, what's wrong? Nothing. I hate that so much, because I'm a coach. I want to communicate. I want to talk it out. Don't just say nothing.
He never lets me say I don't know, and it's really annoying. Sometimes I just want to say I don't know, and he will like keep going until we get to the root of the until we get to the root of it.
So the key is really just to talk. Talk. At the base of our, I say this all the time, at the base of our human existence is this need for connection. We all want to feel connected. And if you feel alone, especially in your relationship, it's because you're choosing to feel alone. All you have to do is to open your mouth. And I heard this the other day. Your tongue has the power to change your life. Just talk about it. Just talk about it. And what's the worst that can happen? You go your separate ways. It's probably for the best. Rather than keeping it together. Oi, easy, Andy. She's hung up on the tongue comment.
Balance.
So that covers what I was saying before, which is have a balanced relationship. Don't be totally obsessed. Don't be totally 100% everything about your partner. Don't put your eggs in one basket. I'm not saying go and deal with other baskets, but I'm saying have a balanced approach. Have a balanced approach to your relationship. I think a beautiful relationship is when at certain times you can feel like, or you can be perceived as one unit, but at the same time you can be seen as strong as two totally separate individuals. Does that make sense? And
Two wholes.
Two whole, yeah. So me and Jules started saying beginning of last year that we don't like the saying my other half, it's my other whole.
Yeah.
So I feel, look, I like to miss Jules. I love to miss Jules. I still text her now, even though we've been married for a year. I still text her, I miss you. I love you. Well, I like to miss her, but I'm not sitting there, oh man, when's she going to message me back? Or why is she not message me back? That's not a balanced relationship. Go do your thing. Go live your life. And then when you're together, be together.
Another way to maintain balance is always obviously to keep working on yourself and keep working on whatever you need to be healed. And one way that I always know where needs to be healed is if you trigger me or if conflict arises, if I have, especially if I've been meditating, if I have sort of the breath to take a step back and think, hang on, why is this triggering me? It's not normally like something really domestic and silly that's triggered me. It's something much deeper, and just, you know, having the space to actually look at where has this really come from and what part of me needs to be healed and where am I not loving myself. Because ultimately if we're feeling disconnected, that's something that we need to give back to ourselves. I shouldn't be expecting for him to fill that void.
Like the other day, I won't go into it. We just
What? Which one?
No, we just had a fight. I felt it was unreasonable and walked out. I can't remember. I went for a walk with the dog. Took the dogs for a walk, and by the time I got back, I'm talking like a 10-minute walk. By the time I got back, Jules said, "I'm sorry, I was out of order."
Yeah.
Done. Cool.
Getting much better at that now.
Yeah. So.
Quick question.
Yes.
Would you have still been annoyed if she hadn't apologised?
Sorry, say that again.
When you came back, she said sorry. Would you have still been annoyed if she hadn't apologised?
For me personally, no, because Jules knows I just don't hold on to shit. Like I'm just.
Yeah, he will move on, whereas I won't. I'm like annoyed that he moves on so quickly.
It has to be sorted. Because for me, I know that if I'm holding something over my head, it's my choice. No one else's responsibility but mine. So I throw stuff off me all the time. And I just crack on with my life. And that's not necessarily a good thing in a relationship. So we always talk about it. Always. I just sometimes need my freedom and my space, and I might like take the dog for a walk just so I can remove myself from reactive to proactive and then come back in a better, more healing space. And then Jules does the same. Jules is thinking, what does this mean? What is this triggered? And we're both sorting out our own shit, and then we come together, but not from
I
from
think that's also maybe quite a feminine thing, is I have to talk it through and I have to kind of alleviate that energy and sort of balance it out. You could probably, you know, go to the gym or whatever and get rid of it that way if there was frustration, you know. We deal with things in different ways, so yeah, that's and being aware of that's how you're dealing with it, and actually you're not necessarily like just disregarding me. That's just how you're dealing with it.
I think we've covered vulnerability.
Yeah, vulnerability. Yeah, just being open and be willing to be vulnerable in all your relationships, and you open up the space for your partner to be vulnerable and create a deeper sense of connection.
I think it's very important to really own your feelings, your emotions. Like I said, come from a balanced place. You know, be willing to disagree, be grateful, never expect, always appreciate, but always be really honest. And really show up as the most realist version of you. Because to fall in love, this is just an opinion, right? Not a fact. To fall in love, you rarely have to have two totally open people. Otherwise, there's always going to be a block somewhere if one of you is closed. So I think that it's very important that you are totally vulnerable. Because if you're thinking, and I know there will be people in this room, maybe in past relationships, that you think, I'm not willing to share that yet. Or I'm not ready to share that yet. Like, oh no, it's too soon to share that. If that person, that guy or that woman or that man, whatever, is not willing to accept you then, why would they necessarily be willing to accept you in the future if you are meant to love people for who they are? Does that make sense? So I would just be, Jules told me we were totally open from day one.
Yeah, and
really.
I think that's one reason I knew that this was going to be such a significant relationship, because I wasn't afraid, I didn't want to hide anything from him from day one. Like, I felt so comfortable in your presence that I just felt I could be completely myself. There was no games playing or anything like that.
I think there's two things to say. There's one is, how do you know that this is the best relationship for you if you're not being 100% you?
Yeah.
How do you know if this is the best relationship for you if there's a little bit of you that is not in that relationship? And the second thing would be, how do you know if... No, actually, let me rephrase that. How dare you deny that person to love you fully? Because we all want to love. And if you don't open yourself totally to the people in your life, you can't allow them to love you fully. Would you agree?
Yeah.
So don't deny them that right. And if they don't love you, tell them to fuck off. Move on to the next person.
And if you're hiding something from them, you're really hiding it from yourself. And you need to look at why you're not being open to yourself. Yeah. And the final point is just, the grass is always greener where you water it. Attention, no, I got it wrong. Energy flows where attention goes. It's the wrong way around.
Energy flows where attention goes.
Yeah, you've got to consistently put energy where you want, the roots and the seeds to grow. So
relationships are hard work. They are incredibly hard work, but they're worth it. I know that's a very cliche thing to say, but it's so true. If you water a plant, it will grow if you give it enough sunshine. But you need to be willing to do the work. Me being a performance coach, I always use this example. If you want a gold medal in swimming, you need to be willing to get in the pool and swim the laps. You can't just turn up to a pool and get a gold medal. So if you want a great relationship, you need to be willing to swim the laps and do the work.
Yeah, and every day, it sounds really cliche and cheesy, but we genuinely do love each other more and more every day, because we understand ourselves better, therefore we understand each other better, and we find out new things about each other all the time. I think it's that spirit of inquisitiveness as well that keeps things playful and keeps things exciting, and you need a lot of variety, and you need to get back to that energy as much as possible that was there in the beginning of your relationship, to just make sure that everything flows.
And I think we'll just close it off by saying, do we know that we're going to last forever? No, you never know. Nothing in life is ever guaranteed. So you might as well just make the most of every single moment. And once again, never expect. Just be here, be now, be happy, be love.
Yeah, love your partner for who they are, not for who you expect them to be.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Just for the sake of time, if you don't mind, I'll put the questions out.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Okay, so thank you so much. Thank you for sharing all that wonderful information. So we're going to open up the floor quickly for some questions for this couple here, and then after this we'll open up the floor for questions for all the other speakers as well. So, Anne, straight up in the air, please.
I know you guys, but how do you keep variety? Because obviously that's one thing that can tend to die in a longer term relationship. How do you keep the variety?
It's just, I would say, come back to point number 2, always looking to create connection. So variety is a form of connection. So Jules might say, should we go do this weekend? Or I might say, fancy a curry tonight? just
Rock and roll.
Something out of the blue. Or, go a different route. We're lucky we have dogs. So just by taking a different route, we're creating variety. But it's just every day. Ask yourself, what can I do that's different to yesterday?
Yeah, if you're bored in your relationship, maybe you're doing boring things. You might need to just go out of your way to do fun things. Create experiences together. We're lucky that we travel a lot, so we're always experiencing new things. But if you're not, then just go out of your way to create new experiences.
I would say a very easy model to use for a successful relationship is Tony Robbins' 6 human needs. And the 4 human needs being certainty, variety, significance, and connection. I truly believe this, having worked with many people and having obviously been in a very, very happy relationship, that if you can fulfill those 4 human needs, it's a recipe for a very successful relationship. Give them certainty, give them variety, give them significance, give them connection. And if there's ever a moment where things aren't going well, you can come back to that model of what is missing right now. And a lot of the time it is, like you're saying, Julie, it's variety. A lot of the time, I know people that are in happy marriages with children that they cheat on their partner. It's not because they don't love them. It's not because they don't feel a future or certainty with their family. It's not because they don't feel connection with their kids. It's because it's fucking boring. That's it. So they go, and you will go, John DeMartini talks about this, you will go against your highest morals just to get your needs met, because it's a primal human need. It's in us. We have to get it met. So just make sure there's fun. Make sure there's safety, routine, certainty. Make sure there's feeling of importance for both of you and significance, and there's love and connection. Cool.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
I assume at some point you're going to plan to have a family. Is that the case?
Slow down.
Assuming you do, because you're young people in love, you like to go off and do what you want to do when you want to do it. At some point, the children get to an age where they've got to have a stable base, they've got to be in school, etc., etc. Jill suddenly turned around to you and said, I need you here more. What would be your attitude to that?
We've already planned that. We're going to hire full-time staff. So.
No. You want to be a bit more specific?
No. It's.
I mean, in other words, would you say, no, I'm still going to go and do what I'm going to do, but we're employing nurses and matrons and everything else?
We would
So
always
we've
keep
discussed
the
this
family
already,
together.
and we're blessed to be in a position where we're already discussing hiring a housekeeper, and then we're already talking about a nanny even before we've decided when we're going to have a
obviously
child.
we travel a lot, but
Because
the idea is to keep the family together, and you know, if we have children, to have them travel with us, and if we need extra help to make that happen, then we'll make that happen.
But to answer your question, I think
tutors and the whole 9 yards.
I don't think that far, but although I do want to change education, that's another story.
If they're at school, they've got that age where they need to be in a fixed location.
No.
Yeah, and I don't know if as I become a mother, I may be very happy to you know, I just don't know how I'm going to change and how my relationship's going to change. I may want to stay at home.
If you decide you want to be based stable, you said to your partner, I need you to be here more as well. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, so that's a fantastic question.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I feel wonderful.
We're getting significance and connection here. So we'll cross that bridge when we get there. No, listen, that's a good answer. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. Once again, we're in appreciation as opposed to expectation, thinking, oh, what's it going to be like? But I will always be respectful of Jules' values and what she wants and what she needs, vice versa. If I'm not respectful and I go off gallivanting and doing my own thing, then we'll have a breakdown. Versus Jules not being respectful of my traveling, she might decide to leave me. So there has to be a middle ground.
I agree. That's what I was
and that's something we discuss all the time, because we're very aware and conscious of all these
I think
things.
it would be a variation of, rather than doing 3 weeks a month, it would be 2 weeks a month. Or would be, we do half of the time I'm away, you stay at home.
So you've answered the question, you'd be prepared to moderate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're very prepared.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Yes?
Just on that point,
Sorry.
No, you've got it, friend. That's right.
you said earlier in your talk that when you were 10 years younger, your values were different to what they are now. So therefore, as you grow and as you grow
Bye,
together,
thank you.
your values will potentially change also. So what you feel now about your freedom being your highest value, when you have
It might
family,
change.
it might change.
Yeah. I lacked the
So
father
that-
figure growing up,
Yeah.
so I'm like super over the moon excited for a child.
Yeah.
So I know that I will be.
Don't I know it?
I will be obsessed with my child when he or she comes, or twins.
Triplets. I want triplets. Get them out in one go.
Into your freedom thing, though.
Excuse me?
Won't that pinch into your like having your freedom more?
For me, spending time with family is the ultimate freedom in life. Yes?
You mentioned about void and that we seek what voids
What
were.
was missing, yeah.
But in my experience, you can recreate those patterns, so you actually continue avoiding what the void was. So for my personally, I would, it's taken me a long time to understand that you can grow through relationship, because I also had a father so I have abandonment issues because I didn't have a father and stuff.
Yeah.
So I avoided and.
So you avoided what specifically?
I avoid relationships because I don't want to be abandoned. And it's taken me a long time to understand that actually I can heal that wound. But can you offer any solution to like finding a bridge? I've never found a bridge to be able to say actually perhaps I can grow through healing this wound because it's too scary. So I just will carry on with the abandonment, and I do it in other voids as well. For myself.
Yeah, what's your name, ma'am? Sorry.
Lydia.
Do you mind if I answer this?
No, go for it.
So, Lydia, you obviously sound like you've done a lot of work on this before, so please, with all due respect, could I coach you just for 2 seconds? So it sounds by the conversation that by what you've just said, that you're avoiding more, you're focusing on what you don't want, which is abandonment. So you're avoiding that. Whereas the opposite of being abandoned would be?
Being safe, being loved, being...
Trust,
yeah.
love, feeling safe. I would say, and I'm not sure that you're already doing this, but using every single opportunity in the world to go out and find trust, to go out and find love. Like, do you just go out there and make a point to trust people? To go out there and make a point to love as many people as you can?
Well, I was saying to Kenny here, I go to both. So I'll be over-trusting people who I ultimately can't be trusted, or I don't trust.
So what do you mean over-trust? Define over-trust.
How
do you know that you've over-trusted
I
someone?
gave all of my money away in sort of 3 fraudulent deals, even though my intuition was screaming at me, don't do it, don't do it.
Okay, so what's the lesson there? What's the lesson there? Your intuition was saying don't do it,
Listen
don't do
to
it.
intuition.
What is your intuition? What's another word for intuition?
Instinct.
Instinct, another word for that?
Higher self, inner
Higher
being.
self, where does your intuition come from?
Universe.
Within your body, where does it come from? From your heart. So you were in your head, which made you do it, where your heart said don't do it. The lesson is always follow your heart, always follow love. Does that make sense? So go look for love, go look for trust, but then you made a decision not based on love or trust, you made it on your head. You made it on scarcity. And I'm just making an assumption here, I'm not saying this is fact, but if you had trusted your heart, which is the one thing you're looking to do, you would have never done those things.
No.
But the fear of missing out, or the fear of being abandoned, made you do it. Therefore, I know the reason why you made those transactions was because you were scared of being abandoned. Because if you weren't scared, you wouldn't have done it. You would have walked away.
Yeah, because I wanted to please them.
Yeah.
But so how does that translate?
If I make the transaction, I'll be loved.
Yeah.
But your heart said, don't do it. So do you meditate?
Not anymore.
Okay.
I'm very cynical about spirituality,
Okay.
but not this kind of.
So that sounds like more head shit. I can tell you now that one of the things that's really transformed my life, even made my relationship better, is meditating. Because I know you guys want to finish up very quickly. Our fears, limiting beliefs, doubts, fears of abandonment, they never live in our heart, they always live in our head. And your head's only job is to protect you and to keep you alive. That's why we're top of the food chain. But our heart only cares for what we desire, what our ultimate mission is, what our purpose is. The heart is what I define as the real brain. And I know that sounds fluffy, but I've practiced this stuff, so I have the right to say it. Trust your heart, trust your heart, trust your heart. If you want to have a conversation with me about it later, honestly, following my heart has changed my whole life. My whole life. So I would do that. And just come back to what I said. So if your heart was screaming at you, don't do it, and your head said do it. And the head is where the limiting belief or the fear lies that if I don't do it, I won't be loved.
So I can translate that into relationships as well.
Yeah. So I would make every single decision you make from now on, put your hand on your heart. Do it now. Put your hand on your heart. Take a deep breath.
I don't know where it is.
Okay, she's just kidding. Yeah. Put your hand on your heart. Take a deep breath. and say these words. What do I feel is the right thing to do? And the key is feel, because if you say think, you'll go back into your head. Cool? I think we have to close up now, yeah?
Afraid so. Only to open on the floor, but I will give one last round of applause.
Cool, thank you.